Hello, Aldwyn Altuney here. Welcome to the Total Truth Show. The truth about the awakening is our topic today. I'm Aldwyn Altuney from the Gold Coast in Australia.
And my name is Ken Kleinberg, and I'm coming to you all the way from the USA, San Diego County, California.
And I am PJ Ashley, and I am just outside of Canberra in country New South Wales.
And we'll be right back after this short introduction.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Total Truth Show, hosted by myself, Ken Kleinberg from San Diego County, California.
And I'm Aldwyn Altuney, known as the Media Queen from the Gold Coast in Australia.
And our goal here on this show is to help you to break away from the mainstream media propaganda and lies, the disinformation and misinformation that's out there in the mainstream, and really help you to start questioning everything and start doing the research for yourself. We want to punch through all of that disinformation and misinformation. Our goal here is to raise global consciousness to quantum critical mass and then pave the way for a new awakened civilization. And we would love for you to come along for the ride. Don't take our word for it. The things that we share here on the show, that goes for our guests too. Start doing the research for yourself. Start going and asking the questions for yourself. Get out there and really find the real truth behind things. So with that, let's get started, you guys. Let's dive into today's episode. Once again, welcome.
Oh, yes. Welcome. Great introduction there, Ken, I must say. Nice work on that one. And great to have our amazing guest with us today. It's going to be such a hot show. I just know it. The truth about the awakening. Now, before we start chatting about our topic, a little bit about our amazing guest today. Now, PJ has had a very successful career in the corporate world, actually in government, defense and logistics. And she made the dramatic sea change after that back to her original passion, which is the art of healing and transformation in preparation for an awakening world. As a presenter, trainer, and author of 3 #1 bestsellers, a business mentor, holistic therapist, and universal channel, PJ, as the founder and CEO of The Pillar Code, has developed, delivered, and teaches a complete healing system, the Pillar Code 12-step program, for individuals and the corporate code for organizations, recognized in 39 countries as a modality and a premium training provider through the International Institute of Complementary Therapists. The Pillar Code has an online university and exciting research showing patterns in clients' ailments and the incredible results after just 12 weeks. PJ and her amazing team are passionate about providing holistic and unique programs for extraordinary transformation of life, mind, and body for personal and professional growth to step up in a changing world. Oh, I love it. Welcome, PJ.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
So great to be here. Wow, you've done so much, PJ. It looks like you've just been slightly ambitious through your life. So what has driven this drive for you?
Goodness. Really, I love seeing that there's more. There's just more. There's more to people. There's more to opportunity. There's more to potential. And the drive was, I wasn't great at school. I didn't set the world alight at school or in academics. I'm a Brisbane girl. I went to a beautiful school in Brisbane. Loved it. But I just knew there was so much more to me. And I had an amazing school principal that pulled me aside, and after a really, really challenging year, and she pulled me aside as the school principal of an all-girls school in Brisbane, Queensland, and they could see that I was turning myself inside out, like just trying, and not setting the world on fire. And this amazing woman, Miss Neal, she pulled me aside and she said, "Patty Jane, there are some people who are academic and then they understand the intellectual, they understand the bits and bobs of the world, and they can do it and they can teach it. And there are other people who can change the world. and you're in the ladder. And it was just amazing. And so I didn't know if she was pitying me. I didn't know if she was just telling me to breathe and sort of take it easy, or but it's really, really stayed with me that why can't I get these academics down pat? Then I realized I wasn't there to be an academic. I literally was there to see people and see their potential and see the excitement of what's behind the mask, literally behind the mask of people, what really drives them. And I absolutely love seeing people's potential.
I love that. And the masks, yes, very interesting, these masks, that we're often not conscious of. And I'm sure you're looking straight through us now, PJ, going, now Ken's got that mask and Aldwyn's got that mask. And and I'm sure it's all perfect. And I think half the thing is actually just getting conscious where we've been unconscious, right? And these masks often are there to protect us, right?
And to be ourselves, and the mask is a part of ourselves. We have that mask as a part of us, and we need it for certain times and certain ways and in certain situations, and we do need to protect ourselves and hold that vulnerability so we can expose and show the vulnerability when we're resilient enough to do so. So it's not about getting rid of the mask altogether, that sort of falsehood, but it's that whole truth, and everything we do in my world's about the truth. So I love the name of the show. But it's about the truth of ourselves, that the shadow side of our truth, the light side of our truth. Where are we in our consciousness upgrade? What's our potential? Where are our gifts? Where are our skill sets? And how you blend them together to really help your community, because that's where your purpose can be sitting. So your potential sits with your purpose sits with your potential, gratitude sits with the journey of it all, your skills and your absolute gifts mashed together. And when you can actually see it, it's all of us and the whole potential of a person or an organization.
I totally agree with that, and I think I more identify with it as it's the subconscious. The subconscious is pretty much what that mask is, because whenever something's going on, the subconscious, its job literally is to protect you.
Yeah.
And so, and I see this show up in my own life when I'm trying to implement some new changes or something like that. I often will experience kind of some anxiety and fear around those new changes, different things. It might be something in my business, a new way of doing things, a new way of thinking. And oftentimes I recognize that those feelings coming up, and lately I've been doing a little bit more of the work to recognize, okay, that's my subconscious. My subconscious is protecting what it's always known, and it does not want to change. So I have to battle through that. So, that's usually the way I think of it, just kind of the subconscious, because now that I'm more aware of the subconscious in my life and the damage that it can do with what I want to do presently, I've been working to do more of that inner work to kind of hack the subconscious, if you will.
See, so where I come up with our way of looking at things is not to fight the subconscious. The subconscious is purely a layer within ourselves of where we are, and the subconscious gets such a bad rap. It gets beaten up, and it's the bad guy, and it's the fear, and it's the scare, and it's the holding us away from our potential. But when you actually change that, if you can flip that around and go, it's the overprotecting parent. Now, our overprotecting parent loves us, okay? So we're not going to beat up a parent because they're being overprotective and they're not letting us out, and now we're 28 and we're still not allowed to go and kiss a boy and go out and have a drink, right? It's an overprotective parent that's holding us back. What we've got to do is we've actually got to befriend our subconscious and befriend what's going on, because that's the gold of our messages. That is the gold of our potential. Because when you understand what the subconscious is, we know we can do the absolute opposite of what the subconscious is holding us back from. So to get your message from the subconscious, talk through it, get through it, get your message, get your piece of gold, come up with your resilience. You've got to come back up through the subconscious into your conscious state. But you come back through a subconscious. It's like threading a needle. You go from your conscious state, you've got to deep dive into the subconscious to get to the gold of your highest conscious state, which sits within us.
Mm-hmm.
You get the resilience, you get your message, you get where am I choosing to be, and you thread the needle back up. You must go through the subconscious to come back into a conscious state of actioning. When you get that, you know that you have to go through your subconscious on your way in without any tools, and on your way out with all your messages and your tools. And that's empowering. Like, that's incredibly empowering. But what you look at is, I know you're there. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to pretend you're not there. I'm going to get your message, but I'm going to get in and get the hell out of there as quickly as I can. Back to that conscious state with my tools, with my actions, and with everything in line. And I'm going to say to my subconscious, thank you so much for being a loving parent, but this is why I can do this. This is why I've got this. And it absolutely is empowering for you to not have that block from the subconscious, but work with it. And it's a game changer. It's a big game changer.
I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, especially with not always looking at the subconscious as bad, because I'm coming from an angle to where I've been used to looking at the subconscious as bad, because I'm a person, I don't like conflict. You know, I tend to avoid it at all costs. Even if that means avoiding in the sense to where it makes my situation worse, whether that's with another person or whatever it is, I will avoid it. And oftentimes the situation will become worse. So I kind of make my own grave. But I have, just always been used to like fighting against the subconscious and just like trying to shove it aside and say, no, I know what you're trying to do. No, I'm going over here in this direction. But then what do I find? I find somehow the subconscious wins and I end up back in the same pattern.
Yeah. And it's exhausting.
It is.
It's exhausting. If you're battling against your subconscious rather than going with the flow, it's like the tide. You got to come in with the tide, and when the tide is coming in, you swim in with the tide and you use the energy of the tide, the ocean. If you are struggling and you're going out the other way and you're crossing paths, that's conflict, and you are literally exhausting yourself. So you need to know to go when you go with the tide of the subconscious and then with the tide of your highest consciousness. And when you can get that flow, that is literally what infinity is. It's the infinite wave of lifting. And if you're in an infinite wave of lifting up, you'll constantly be lifting up. If you're an infinite wave of lifting down, dropping down, you're going to be in a constant wave of the negative and going down. It literally is the physics of the planet. It is, to go with the vibrational frequency and the energy of where we are. And when you go against the energy, the physics of what we know is the energy and the conduction of that energy. When we go with that, life just works. And we go, gosh, that was easy. That happened so easily. What was that about? When we go against it, we're pushing shit uphill, really. And it's exhausting.
Yes.
Oh, this is a fascinating conversation. Now, my first question is, how do you know when you're in the conscious or the subconscious?
Great one.
Because things are either working out for you or things are not working out for you. So you're either in love or you are in fear. You are in the progression of life, or you're actually in the decline and unraveling of life. You're actually excited to get up of a morning, put your feet on the floor, or you pull the doonas up and you go, I'm just going to let today pass. I can't deal with it. Your life is showing you the symptoms of success, or your life is showing you the destruction of contrast and shadow. Your body is showing you health and happiness and vitality and vibrational energy and frequency, or your body is showing you aches and pains and diseases and disorders and messages. Your mental health is clear, calm, and connected, the manager of your life, or your mind is the monkey mind, and it is literally going into sabotage and the and you can't even think clearly. So your life is literally the movie theater. It's the vision that is showing you the external result of the internal production. And when you can get that, you can go, life is not against me. That bill that I can't pay is not against me. That the idiot boss is not against me. My car just had a flat tire. It's not against me. My house is a mess. It's not against me. It's an external projection. It's a movie theater of the internal projection of what you've created. And it's there not to harass you and to pull you down. It's there to give you a good kick up the ass to get you back on track so you can get your messages and be more. Not be perfect, but to be the best version of you. And it's super exciting when you understand that life is not against you. You're not the victim. Don't be the martyr. You're literally just an actor in this crazy, which is getting crazier, movie script that we've got going on at the moment. And there's constantly the gophers either side of the stage helping you with the scripting, helping you going, you forgot your lines, so I'm just going to give you your lines. You forgot where you to stand on the stage. Oh, we're going to help you. Stand forward, center stage, center, move forward. And there's constantly messages in your life, your mind, and your body that is showing you where your soul, who is the director and the CEO of your life, where your soul is saying, hey, PJ, get here. Do this. What are you doing? Why are you off there? Why are you off to the side stage when you are actually meant to be delivering a line right now? That your soul is the CEO, your mind is the manager and needs to manage you into that production, and your body is the vehicle to go along with it. And when all three are in alignment, you've got a movie that you are proud to be in. When the three are fighting and not working together, you have actually got a destruction, and you've got a crew that's rebellious, and you have mutiny on your hands. And life just shows you that. It shows you really clearly when it's not working.
Yeah, I love that. And everything happens for us, not to us, they say. Everything happens for us. So the sooner we get the learning, the sooner we move on. Now, I had an interesting thing happen yesterday where I've done over 900 interviews and videos on my Media Queen TV channel on YouTube. And I had in my diary to do an interview on a certain topic, and I didn't put in my diary who I was interviewing. And I lined it up like a month ago, and I'm thinking, who is this person I'm meant to be interviewing tomorrow? And I actually ended up interviewing someone who I wasn't planned to interview, and he couldn't remember whether I was meant to be interviewing him either. And so we went ahead with this interview, and oh my gosh. And then afterwards I went, oh my gosh, it's meant to be this other person. And so as soon as it happened, I messaged that other person. I said, I'm so sorry, I didn't put the details in my diary correctly and interviewed the wrong person. However, as it turned out, that wrong person ended up being a fantastic interview, which was actually my interview with Nick Cree yesterday about marketing.
I saw that. That was the little portion that I saw was fire. It was good.
It was a fantastic interview. However, he wasn't the person I was meant to be interviewing. And so then I stepped back for a moment and I went, what's my learning from this? And I thought, okay, it's to actually write the details in fully in my diary. To say 900 shows, and I'd never done that before. And we also mentioned in that show, we said, don't let perfectionism get in the way of progress, right? Yeah. And as it's going to turn out, now the guy I was meant to be interviewing was Tim Gillette, a guy from America, and he's actually got a program called Simple Easy Marketing. And now I've messaged him, and we're due to chat about this. And so it's actually quite funny. But actually, on a positive note, Tim's going to get a whole lot of free PR out of this because this has happened, and because I'm owning my stuff. That okay, I stuffed up. I'm not going to make it mean I'm bad and wrong. It's just the universe telling me to actually slow down for a moment and write the full details in my diary of who I'm meant to be interviewing. So it's actually hilarious, and I'm sure it's all perfect because, as you know, it was a great interview with Nick. So, and Tim and Nick know each other, and Tim's coming on Nick's show. Nick's going to make a joke of it when Tim comes on his Business Owners Plus show.
That's epic.
It's a great example of how things happen sometimes that we don't expect, and we do the best we can, and sometimes we miss things, and and how's it happening for me? How's it happening? What are the pros in this situation? There's always the light and the dark in everything, right?
There is, and how do you see the fun in that? I mean, that could be you could take that as a very, very stressful situation and go, oh my God, and it could, raise your heart, your blood pressure, your anxiety. It could do all sorts of things to you, to the interview, to whatever's going on. But how do you turn that and make it fun and go, hey, we've just completely, got the wrong person on here, and how do you make it fun? But then you take a step further and go, well, yeah, what's my message? And if you could always get your message, okay, we'll be more organized, but just, allow for changes, allow for those synchronicities to come through. Then you're actually opening yourself up to a higher level of where you're looking for your information to come from. And that's pretty cool when you do that.
Now, one of the times with something similar like that has happened to me before in the past. Not so much that I've forgotten to put the name of the person in. No, I've got the name of the person in there. The thing of it is I've forgotten where I found them from, where they're from, how to get the link to them, because I don't know if they came from LinkedIn, if they came from Facebook, if they came from a networking group. I've had that happen a couple times, and ever since then, I received that message loud and clear. Ever since then, now if I have like one of those types of contacts, and like my brain will trigger and go, are you going to remember where this one was from? So now I will actually type in the notes from here, and then, yeah. So totally understand that.
Yeah. And we can see the funny side of things because we're human beings, and how often are we perfectionists? And it's interesting because I had a great conversation with my dad the other day. My dad and I have clashed over the years, and my dad's one of these guys. He's ultra disciplined and ultra organized. And he said to me when I was younger, he said, Aldwyn, you got to be ultra disciplined. You got to be ultra organized. That's just how life goes. You just got to be that way. And there's a part of me that has rebelled against that. But actually I look at my life and I go, okay, there's parts of my life I actually am really organized, and there's parts that I'm not. And I said to my dad the other day, I said, why have I been so challenged with this area of getting organized, particularly around taxes and paperwork? I hate that sort of stuff, right? So I tend to procrastinate around that. I put it off. And Dad said, I remember when you were in primary school, he said one day you were doing an assignment and you stayed up all night. The assignment was due the next day. You stayed up all night with your mum to finish this assignment when you were in primary school, and you ended up getting 25 out of 25 for that assignment. He said you were always a perfectionist when you were growing up. Interesting that Dad said that. So it's actually a very interesting analogy when we look in our life. Okay, where am I being a perfectionist right now in my life? Where am I waiting for things to be perfect before I take action? Rather than, as they say, 100% of imperfect action is better than 0% of perfect action, right? Yeah. And how often do we stop ourselves because we fear that we're going to get things wrong, or we're going to look silly or whatever, whereas you just take action and do the best you can, and then you adjust as you go, right?
A lot of people don't like to look at that. They don't like to look at their imperfections, though. We have so many people, go through our programs, and you can see the ones who just, step into it and go, oh my God, I really need support or help or transformation or my next step. But you see others who go, yeah, I'm not quite ready for that because I need to clean up my marriage before I talk to you, or I need to clean up my health issues before I talk to you, or I need to clean up my anxiety before I talk to you. And you go, that's like saying, you're going to get well before you take your antibiotics, or you're going to mend your arm before you put plaster on your broken leg. It's like I'm going to get my finances sorted before I find an accountant. It's nuts. It's totally nuts. And a lot of it comes from that subconscious that we were talking about. Hates being exposed that there may be something wrong. Like, it's not wrong. 100%. It's just your present state in time. It's just where you are in life, mind, body, and business currently now. So when we understand we're not going to expose ourselves until that thing's perfect, we literally won't get past this three-dimensional process energy shift that we are in, when the world has actually moved into the fifth dimensional energy framework. And there's so many things that are happening with it at a rapid rate. And we need to get past this fear of showing our blemishes before we can actually get help with it, because otherwise we're actually going to go to our grave with all of our blemishes safely tucked away in our coffin, nicely hidden. Life issues, mind issues, body issues, business issues, very, very, very nicely tucked away. We'll have a beautiful, nice, polite eulogy said about us, but nothing would have moved and we wouldn't have lived our life of potential.
You know, I resonate with that so much. It's just moving past like all of that and into, I don't want to sound too woo-woo with the way I'm gonna phrase this, but moving into that higher, that if you will, that higher consciousness. Moving into that higher way of thinking. You know, it's interesting. I was, Aldwyn, when you were talking about perfectionism, I was thinking of something that my math teacher in junior college said to me, or said to the class at one time. It was math teacher. And he's just like, practice does not make perfect, because if you practice the wrong thing, it does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. And I've kind of taken that with me throughout the rest of my life. It's like, okay, practice does not make perfect. However, what I will say though, with that is there's almost a tendency to look too extreme into that. Because kind of like what you were saying, PJ, if you're looking, if we're doing 0% perfection, and then you get nothing out of that because it's just that you're not perfect. You can't be. So you're going to get that 0%. Rather showing up with who you are, showing up with who you were meant to be. And one of my mentors recently, somebody I'm working with, had me write this down, and she had me put this in a couple places in my room. I am unapologetically me. And I find at times I actually say, I actually say it like this: be unapologetically me. So that means mistakes, blemishes. That means when I'm on a live and I know I'm saying after after after, that means owning it. That means not worrying about it. And it's actually caused me to take a look at the way other people are showing up. They're not worried about the fact of they just got a distraction on their phone, or they lost their place in the notes, or something's going on. There are times where sometimes when stuff like that happens to me, it drives me crazy. And so for the longest time, I actually strayed away from doing like Facebook Lives, because I'm the person, I like to pre-record it, mistakes and all. And then I like to throw it into an editor and edit out every single one of those mistakes.
No. People want Ken. They don't want a robot. And this is where we're going with AI. This is where we're going with, digital identity. This is where we're going with cashless society. This is where we're going with no bodily autonomy of our choice of what we're doing. It's creating a robotic society, and so people are craving more and more the authentic or the truth, and that doesn't mean that you don't show up the best version that you can be. I'm all about that, okay?
Yeah.
My mother raised us with, you were born with that height and that coloring and this skin and these teeth and those eyes and that body shape. Like, don't complain about anything. Just do the best you've got every day. You show up the best you've got every day with what you've got, okay? Which is a bit different than going and doing all this plastic surgery and altering it massively, and no one can recognize anybody anymore. No one knows who anyone is, and there's no expressions or anything. But you can actually live with that and go, hey, this is me, but still present in the best way you can. And you present in the best way you can for yourself, not necessarily for anyone else. If I get up of a morning, if I don't put some lipstick on, there's no one in the house, I do it for me. Start the day, you make your bed, end the day, you polish your shoes. That's how I was raised, right? And so one leads into the other. The polished shoe leads you to prepare for the next morning. Getting out of bed and making it prepares you for the night that you're going in. So there's no ending, there's no beginning. It's just this rolling in. So at any point you can make an adjustment, you can make a shift, you can make a change. Because when people say, I'm going to wait for Monday to start that, I'm going to wait till Friday to do that, just do it now. Just do it in your now. Now, an acronym. Next opportunity waiting. It's your now. Be in your now. Be in your present. Because we only have the frequency and the energy of where we are now. So every single given point of your time, be in your next opportunity waiting. And that is you are prepared, that is you're waiting for it, that's you're grateful, that is you just being your authentic self, your true self. And it could be yourself without makeup that day, it could be yourself feeling tired that day, or it could be yourself being really pumped up and passionate that day. It doesn't matter. But when you actually sit in that now energy, you can actually then start to pivot, because you can turn a car when it's moving. You can't turn a car when it's sitting in the driveway. You've got to turn the engine on. You've got to roll. You've got to get the car out of first gear into second gear. The higher the speed, the smaller the adjustment to actually make the turn, make the change. But when you're sitting stationary, you turn the wheel all you like, and it's causing a lot of effort. So just step forward, just walk, just step forward, make a decision, get up, make one call, read one book, read one page of a book, put one gym shoe on, put the bottom of your tracksuit on, doesn't matter. Just do something, anything, a micro movement. And the more you start getting into your momentum, the easier it is to make micro moves, has major effects then on altering your entire journey.
I love that illustration with a car. That's a new one to me, and I think I'm going to steal it from you. I love that. That is perfect. One thing I want to say to that too about, I'll just start on Monday, or I'll just start next month. One thing I want to say about, that's one of the things that I instill in every one of the clients that I work with. So I don't know if you know, PJ, but I'm a weight loss coach. So based on my own transformational experience of losing 62.5 pounds and then keeping it off for 5 years, over 5 years now, this is what I teach other people how to do. But I teach them how to do it without a diet, and I educate them and give them the tools to help them make the sustainable changes that last. So in other words, I'm taking them out of the broken health and wellness system that keeps them stuck, and I'm giving them their freedom. There's that patriotic angle that I told you I have with my what I do. In that, we talk a lot about mindset when I'm working with my clients, mindset and what gets to happen in your journey. And one of the things I address very strongly is in your weight loss journey, you are going to have those weak moments. You will fall. You will fall off that horse. That is not an opportunity for you then to say, crap, this day is shot. I'll just start again tomorrow, or I'll just start again next week. No, that is not an opportunity to do that. What it is an opportunity to do is to, one, embrace that, because that is your opportunity to now learn, grow, get wiser, and get stronger for next time, because there will be a next time. That's such a powerful thing. The challenges and the trials that happen in your life, the circumstances that happen in your life, they are not an opportunity for you to throw in a towel, act like you're the victim of the circumstance or anything else. Yes, I'm going to say there are times where this is easier said than done. Yes, I will admit that. Absolutely. But still, if you're doing the inner work, it becomes a little bit easier each time to then embrace the inside that circumstance. And it doesn't mean the circumstance is going away. It just means now you're standing in your power of choice, and you can now choose to either be a victim or to pivot in another direction. Again, the circumstance hasn't gone away. You've just chosen to take a different mindset with it.
Yep. But like the subconscious, when we call it going into a contrast. You're either in the pillar side of life, and you are the pillar of your own community, the pillar of your own life, the pillar of your own family. Okay. You are literally that strong structure that's not going anywhere. You are the resilience. You're the pillar of your entire existence. But there's the shadow side, and the shadow side is literally there. If you are the pillar of strength in your journey, you will cast a shadow. You 100% will cast a shadow. When the light is there, the light will come and it will literally show the opposite, which is your contrast. So if you ignore that there's a shadow there, you're missing half of the message. So the days that you fall off the bandwagon, you don't go out for your walk, or you eat the wrong thing, or you chomp down on a bunch of chocolate or something you shouldn't do, or you're feeling guilty about it, whatever it is, that's your shadow. That's literally your shadow side of yourself. And that is where you get your greatest message. So this is where you're going to be having that talk with the subconscious and going, what was it, or who was it, or what was it within me? And in the pillar code, we know exactly what that is like and what triggers it. And it's a fog energy. We call it a fog energy that exaggerates the negative within someone. It's like putting your negative side, your greed side, your pain, your aches, or so on steroids. And a fog energy will be an energy that will explode it into the absolute greatest contrast, and it will take you off being the pillar of resilience in your whole journey. So those days where they do fall off the bandwagon, they beat themselves up, and there's a cascade, and that's shame, guilt, and abandonment, and going, well, what's the point? Why bother? Right? And then once you understand that, you can get to know where your tipping point is. So if you're resilient most of the time, but you have one tipping point, it could be your partner who's going, you're never going to do this, right? It could be a bill that comes in and goes, I'm overwhelmed. It could be an exhaustion thing because you've got something physically going on. It could be something anxious. You've run into someone that you don't like, some anxiety or whatever it is. But you'll know a tipping point, and once you've been told what your tipping point is, you don't have to then completely crash face first into the mud. You understand your tipping point, and you can ride it back up. But we can get excited when people start going into a tipping point, because when you crouch down, you can actually jump far higher than you can from a standing start. So sometimes a contrast is the actual precursor for a burst of growth. And when you can manage it and lift it and know that it's part of your stepping up, then you can sit there and go, hang on, I don't need to do a big contrast. it's a little one, but boy, this means I can actually jump to my next step. And you can't jump when you're on a plateau. You can't do it. So again, it's looking at, well, is that shadow side my enemy? Am I my failure because I keep going off track? No, it's a message. But the deeper you go, the less you're actually knowing about your message, the less you're listening to the message, the less you can interpret your message. And that's what we find with a lot of our clients. They're getting the messages there. It's over and over and over again, a bad partner, or finances, or aches, or pains, or disease, disorders, dysfunctions, and so on. But they don't know how to read the message. And therefore, when you read a message, you then shift it into the action that counteracts that. So, these things excite me, because it literally is the propelling of someone stepping up. As long as they're given the coding in life, it's the matrix in life to understand how do we actually step up out of it. And when you know, it's like getting the manual or the instructions for life, and you can actually use those instructions and step up and have fun with it and go, this is now serious, it's my life, but I'm actually going to learn the message. And this is what all our practitioners do. We help people, like, you learn the message, you get the instructions, you lift it up, and then life can change so dramatically. It's exciting to watch it.
Like the switch gets turned on. I just want to acknowledge our people watching us live right now. We've got William Moore here on YouTube. PJ's the best, he says. Thank you, William. That's lovely. And we've got Aldwyn Darville here on LinkedIn. Our subconscious is driving the bus 95% of the time. Yeah. Would you agree with that? Yeah. It's like the iceberg analogy. So thank you so much for that, Aldwyn, on LinkedIn. And for others joining us, let us know where are you joining us from today. And if you have any questions for PJ or for Ken or myself, just pop them in the chat here and we can come to your questions. We like to make this an interactive show. Thank you for joining us. And there's so much gold that's been shared already. You mentioned the power of the present. I think, of course, Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. I think of the book. We were talking about masks earlier. Now, I'd love to actually explore this a little bit further. What are some common masks, PJ, that people have?
The whole bravado that I am fine. How are you? I'm fine. I'm okay. How are you? Happy, right? I love my job. Only need to stay. I'm in a government town in Canberra, the capital of Australia. Oh my goodness, so many clients, sit there and it's a standard comment. I only have 7.5 years left to get my superannuation. I can be miserable for 7.5 years. That's okay. It's all worth it. And we call it the whole golden handcuffs in Canberra, mask. So people aren't living in their present. The mask of their past is dictating their future. No, it isn't. Let go. My husband cheated on me 25 years ago. Are you kidding me? And it's in your discussion now. Let it go. So this whole mask of I'm a victim. This happened to me in the past. Yes, it did in your timeline. We all have our timelines, past, present, and our future timeline. But what happens is this mask, we actually hold our potential back. And I'm all about potential and purpose. We hold our potential back from this mask of what if I do step up? What if I actually do find my purpose? What if I can actually look at my skill sets that I've learned, my gifts that I've been born with, and I have a purpose where I can create it to, and I have an arrow moving forward so I can link my skills, my natural gifts, and a purpose that I'm passionate about. What if it works? What if I step up but people don't understand it and I'll be shot down? So no, I can't do that. No, I can't, and it's just that constant, I'd prefer to criticize myself than move forward. That we have these masks all over the place. What is it we choose to be? No one really, unless you're quite empty, chooses just to be famous. People actually choose to make a purpose, to put their purpose on the planet, to make a difference. People actually really want to make a difference, and sometimes that for some people will mean that's their fame, but other people that means that it's behind the scenes. And so people will put a mask on going, I can't public speak, even though I've got this amazing idea and this amazing drive, amazing passion. So there'll be a mask that, in social settings, that we don't talk about what we really want to talk about. We don't talk about the political climate. We don't talk about what's just happened in the world over the last 3 years. We can't do it. We've got to put the mask on and smile. And isn't the weather nice? We mask our true selves. And that can be for a really good reason, but it can also be so detrimental because it literally takes us away from the freedom of who we are. And we're all about freedom at the moment. We don't have freedom of speech. We don't have freedom of thought. We don't have freedom of finances. We don't have freedom of bodily autonomy, of health. We're more interested in drugs and numbing people down than allowing people to wake up and be in their preventative, healthy state and be free thinkers and be, creative in how we can build this community back up. There is nothing about how we can actually build and be healthy. It is all about how we can control and be destructive. And there's a mask between the duality of these two timelines. Whenever there's two, we're shown into the duality of the planet. And whenever you've been thrown into duality, red versus blue, Liberal versus Labor, this football team against that football team, that medical procedure against this medical procedure, Western medicine against preventative medicine, whatever it might be, whenever there's a duality, we're being bought into literally the falsehood of what's going on in the world. And the falsehood is there is not the duality. There is actually something above it. So whenever you think that you're being, I've got my view and I've got my vision and I need to see where I'm going with this, if there's a direct opposing side to you, you're still caught up in that masking of the world of the truth. There's something above it, which is literally above the duality. It is the ultimate. And then you think you then start to know what's happening in the world, and you think you start to have removed your mask, and you think you start to have got it right, and you think you start to know what's going on, and then all of a sudden you find, oh my gosh, I'm actually opposing something again. Then you're back in duality. How do I get out of my duality? Know that there's a third, take it above it, and look down upon the two sides so you can see the whole view. And you think you've got it, and you think you've got it, and you think you've got it. And as soon as you think you've got it, you're back in duality, because there'll be an opposing view. This is this incredible masking of truth within the entire planet. So it's more than just our social masking. It literally is the masking of us being freed as a species, freed as energetic beings, freed as collective consciousness, good God love consciousness that have been, plopped into little pods we call people. There is the masking of and the illusion of our entire existence.
Illusion of separation.
Right.
Separation. Yeah.
I've got to say something here, because I do find it really, 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 really interesting. You're using the word mask, for, what we put on in ourselves and stuff like that. But I'm also finding an interesting correlation to the other elephant in the closet, the real mask, how it hides, how it restricts, how it messes with you psychologically. I find it, I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it, but lately, every time you've said and you've used that illustration, I keep coming back to that and go, oh, isn't that interesting? That sounds an awful lot like what they were trying to do to us at a much, much extreme level, and mess with our psyche with the actual mask.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it is the blocking of the communication. It is the isolation, and you got to be careful, because then it's bringing into the opposition. It's the opposing again. Look above, both sides of that illusion, and it is literally stopping the freedom of speech. It gets back to the freedom of speech. How can you, have you ever tried to have a conversation with two people? I mean, I didn't wear them, but you could watch people or try and listen to someone who's wearing them.
Oh, that was the worst. Trying to hear somebody on the phone when they're trying to talk through a mouth. Oh my gosh, that was the worst.
And I've realized that I don't necessarily look at eyes all the time. I realize that I'm actually a mouth reader. I read a conversation through the mouth. I didn't realize that until a couple of years ago. And so you're missing everything. And that's how children have bought into this whole expression as well. So it is stopped. One of the greatest freedoms that we have is that this is our expression, this is our consciousness, and this is where we actually can connect through. So we're literally, using the word, but masking our true essence of ourselves. And it is stopping that understanding that we are creation. We are one consciousness. We are one consciousness brought in to have a human experience. And when you can actually, really, really understand that, there is no way a consciously connected leader, where I'm all about consciously connected leaders, a consciously connected leader, and that means everyone on the planet, because you lead in your own life. There's no way a consciously connected leader can be comfortable with being directed in one certain way, where their light is being dimmed, where their light is being taken away from them, where the light is as actually being turned right off into the Walking Dead state. And so unfortunately, we have an epidemic of the Walking Dead. Now, I used to hide that comment for years and years and years and years in our business. Years ago, about 2-3 years ago, I just started saying to people, look, it's, this is the Walking Dead state. It's your mind is there, your body is there, but your soul has shifted off to the side. You're in this Walking Dead state. I have had soldiers, politicians, mothers, fathers, children, teenagers coming back to me and going, oh my God, that is exactly how I've been existing. This is exactly how I've been feeling. That explains my life. I literally am the Walking Dead. So more and more people are coming to that understanding of what the Walking Dead is, that they have masked their true essence of them, the love of them, the vibrational beauty of them, the highest potential. Because if we are linked to one consciousness, and we know that through our physics, through our energy, we understand that, you know, that whole matter and energy and collective consciousness. We know energy cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed, it can only be shifted. We know we're a part of that collective energetic consciousness, and that forms a mass then consciousness. And you can have a look at, you know, fantastic information about mass formation on the planet and so on. It's just fascinating to see. But when you actually have people who are on the brink of going, I need more, I need to find myself back, they're wanting to throw off all the fog, they're wanting to throw off that Walking Dead state, but they don't know how to get it back. They just don't know. And it creates PTSD, depression, anxiety, and so on. Depression is the timeline of the future, and they've brought depression is timeline of the past, and they've brought that the past into their now, and they're living in the now of depression. And anxiety is their timeline and their future. And that anxiety, if something hasn't even created yet, hasn't even happened yet, and they've got the anxiety for something in their future. And the Walking Dead state is when they literally can't find their now state consciously. They very, very easily access the past in the negative timeline, the future in the negative timeline, but they can't access, they literally don't even know how to find it. Their now, their presence in that conscious state, and the conscious state is a soul aligned, a soul connected being. And so therefore they have to mask that they're not there. They are not there. They have to mask it because they know there's something incredibly wrong with what is going on.
Wow, such a hot topic. The truth about the awakening. Now, let's pull this apart a little bit. What does the awakening actually mean to you, PJ?
The awakening means to me a total change in our era, total change on the planet. There is a shift on the planet like we have never seen before, and we as in generations and generations and generations. The energy is literally shifting. So if you look at where a frequency is, we know where it comes from, a collective consciousness. It doesn't matter if you believe in God or Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha or any of it. It doesn't really matter to me. That's more religion, and religion's man-made creation to keep us controlled. But God is, for me, is love. It's a love frequency. It's a love energy. We come from that frequency of that collective consciousness energy, which is love. So what's happening is there's an upgrade. There's a literal upgrade of the collective consciousness of that energy. It's like a ball that's rolling and rolling, and it's doing its step up. So when I was explaining before about the best thing really that can happen for someone is a little jump, because then they can jump up, a little dip so they can lift. The planet is doing that as well. So this vibrational frequency is saying we are shifting, we are moving into our next phase, our next era. And that is a frequency that's purer, it's higher, it's cleaner, it has got more consciousness into it, it's got more awareness, it has bringing back the intelligence into the intellect. We have lost the intelligence of the intellect. It is lifting that frequency up. And if you want to get woo-woo about it, it's moving from the 3D, which is a heavier, denser energy, and it's shifting it up into a higher, purer frequency in the 5th dimension. The 4th dimension in the middle is the balance between, and it's the rocky waves of trying to get the two of them into cohesion so it can shift. So with that's already happened on the planet. But what's had to happen, that we've had to dip so we can actually come back in the higher frequency. Now, we have all chosen to be here on the planet at this time for this ride. We bought the ticket. Right? We said we want to be at the roller coaster, on this date, we want to be here, we want to see the ride, and we're all going to have some part to play. Some of us are going to be on the roller coaster carriages, some of us are going to be the mechanics keeping it going, other people are going to be buying the tickets and selling the tickets, other people are going to be safety on the ground. We've all got different parts to play on this, but we are actually seeing and experiencing this change. And so with the change of this consciousness brings a lightness. And the lightness is literally shining its torch on the shadow. It's shining the torch. And just like when you turn the light on in the kitchen, if there's cockroaches there, they scurry, but you see them quickly. They're already there. They've been there, but the light shows them. It brings the awareness. So we are being shown all of the cockroaches that have been in the planet. And it's scaring a lot of people. It's bringing fear and stress and anxiety and torment and PTSD and depression. People don't even know where to begin. They're so confused. They've lost their anchor. They've lost their nightly news, trusting what's being said. They've lost the trust of the government or their peers or their priests or anyone who they used to anchor in for their absolute security. It's like this whole thing has just erupted like a complete earthquake that's shaken everything. So people don't know where to stand. They literally don't know where to stand because of this massive change that's going on. And when that's happening, it's bringing all these things out. There's no new evil on the planet. There's no new, villains on the planet. There's no new, people coming through that are just wanting to do you harm. It's just exposing some things that have fundamental basics in greed. And that greed can be in the form of all sorts of things. But at the higher frequencies, the opposite of greed, it's gratitude. And when you are in a gratitude frequency, you cannot tolerate greed. And so the world is lifting more into a gratitude energy, a love energy, a higher pure frequency. So therefore, foods are going to need to be purer. Water needs to be purer. The planet needs to be cleaned up. Our finances, the financial system, the fiscal system, the pharmaceutical system, we need to get back into prevention and homegrown vegetables and fruits and communities, and where a community has a trusted teacher and a trusted butcher and baker and tailor, and we all grow and lift into our higher purpose, and then we exchange our purposes in the support of the community as a whole. That's where it's heading. But to do that, literally the cockroaches or all the bad policies on the planet are being shown. So it is terrifying people who don't understand the positive future of this awakening. And it's also exciting a lot of people like me who understand where it's going, where it's always been. It's always been there. And in the Pillar Code, we go, a truth revealed is a truth healed. A truth revealed is a truth healed. So reveal the truth and it can heal. Hold the illusion and you're never going to bring it to light for its healing. So we're going through the revealing of truth so we can actually heal the planet and lift us into a higher frequency and have a higher vibration where we get our intelligence back into our intellect, the academics back, linked with our highest intuition, and we actually blend our intuition and our intellect to create a being that is there for ourselves in our best form and our community in our best form without question.
Beautifully
now,
said.
Sorry, Aldwyn.
You go.
What's interesting about what you said, I mean, I resonate with a lot of it. Your statement, people don't know where to stand. Well, that's where I feel like those of us that are awake, or for like another phrase that I'll use, those of us who have taken our red pills to get out of the matrix, that's now our job. Our job is to show them where they can now stand. Our job is to now bring them through that path. Because you know what? I remember back in summer 2020 when my friend helped me down that path to clarify some things. I knew something was off in the beginning. You know, I knew some, and I've always actually been one to not fully trust the government. I've always been one to kind of, well, the government's watching you, that kind of stuff. But it was always very surface level. Never in my wildest dreams at any time in my life did I ever think that I'd be, I don't even know how to describe it, like here. And that doesn't even yeah, that doesn't even describe it. That doesn't even say what I want to say and how I want to say around that. I never dreamed. But see, here's the thing. I remember he led me down the path. He asked me a bunch of questions, one after another. He never told me. He never just straight up. He just led me down the logical path and helped me make my own decisions. And then I left the call with him with 3 videos. I'll never forget it. And one of those videos was a 3-hour documentary on the fall of the cabal. And I watched that video, and I swear pretty much every part of it started making sense to me. Some of it was a big surprise to me. As a matter of fact, so much through, I think around part 7, part 8 of it, because it was a 10-part series all meshed into one, part 7 and part 8. When I got to that part, I literally had to stop the video and take a break because I was feeling sick to my stomach with what they are doing with the children. And then after that, the rest is history. Like, I started diving into a whole bunch of stuff. But I can't tell you how many times after that I was sitting on a Zoom call with him, sitting back on my chair, just going, what the hell is happening? What the hell, has my whole life been a lie? What the hell is happening? There are so many moments like that I had. He was always the guide there to help me, to bring me back out of the weeds, put me back up on the 40,000-foot view, as he always loved to call it. And always there to kind of like put me back on the path. Those of us that are awake and know the truth, that's our job now. That's our job. To the people who aren't awake, or to the people that are waking up and see the corruption, see the news, see how it's falling apart. Good Lord, if you're really paying attention, if you can't see how the news and the mainstream is falling apart right in front of your eyes, my gosh, I'm so sorry, but yeah, because it's getting to the point to where it's so freaking evident. And our job is helping people that are there and they're seeing this. Okay, like you said, their pope, their pastor, their news, their anchor guy that they've always trusted is now literally falling all apart in front of them. They're left with nothing. That's where we are to come in. That's our job now.
And this is a really dangerous part of the awakening. This is a very, very dangerous part, because part of this is also to, on purpose, bring fear, because fear is the shadow side. Love is your pillar side, right? You're strong, you're resilient. That's the love side. Nothing breaks down love except for fear. The remedy for fear is love. Love in action is joy. And that's why we say joy. Be in joy, another acronym, the journey of yours. Be in your joy. So that is the journey of yours. And then you'll be anchoring in your pillar. You'll be anchoring in love, and it'll be harder for fear to attack you. Fear then leads to burden. It's a burden. It's a burden. I hear people all the time, it's a burden. I've got to wake people up. No, you don't. No, you don't. You need to be the beacon of love and light in your own consciousness, and allow people to come to you, because they will come to you when you're the beacon of life, the beacon of love, the beacon of joy in your own journey. And so fear is put into society in purpose for control. If you want to control, animals, a herd of sheep, literally you put fear in by having cattle dogs run around them. They're going to nip them on the feet, and so they herd them into a pen safely, right? So we all know we're herded by fear. Marketing is led by fear. We don't market through love. People don't buy love. They buy the removal of fear. So we actually walk away from fear. We're happy to walk away from fear. We don't walk towards love. So there's fear, it literally runs our world. So the more fear that comes in, the more it is actually playing into the shadow side. And that's why I say people say, stop. Are you in your duality? Have you been brought in now to the opposing and to the opposite? If so, you've been pulled into the two, because there's two timelines. We've got our light consciousness timeline and we've got our shadow contrast timeline. It's like a railway track. Both are hurtling ahead. Both are going at a really, really fast pace at the moment. Start off really slow, but both are hurtling ahead. So you'll see people really waking up and connecting into that higher consciousness, understanding their messages, life, mind, body, business, and then people understanding where they're going and really just being this vibration of who they are in their truth. But you're also seeing the absolute opposite: disease, disorder, dysfunction, massive mental health issues, breakdowns, marriages breaking down, the banking taking everything, all of these things that have been taken from us is all on the shadow side. That is gaining as just as much momentum. It has to, because they're parallel. They're on a parallel. But with the universal time frame, like it's a clock coming up. The sun is at the sundial. It's about 11:58 at the moment. So if it's before then, it casts a really long shadow, and that long shadow is just dispersed, as in all these people in the world and all these idiots who do this and these creeps who do that and whatever. But as the shadow is getting closer and closer, the sundial's coming up to our change, a massive change on the planet. For the existence will not be the same from that point forward. We are so close to 12 o'clock. What happens is the shadow now is a very thin slither, but it's the darkest before the dawn. It is the darkest now. It's the darkest time because it's the closest to 12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock, there is no shadow. It is not there. We are in a new alignment. But what happens after that, and we're talking about a couple of hundred years now, the shadow will start to go the other way, and things will start going in the absolute reverse of what we're doing. Way too conservative, way too controlling, and it will shift into the other dimension, because we are learning from the pendulum swing. So we are the darkest now before the dawn. It is the worst coming up. It is showing all the atrocities for those who are looking at the timelines. For those who are all in their shadow timeline or all in their light consciousness timeline, not wanting to look over at the other side, neither can see the other. And everyone thinks that they're absolutely completely nuts. Those in the shadow timeline can't understand where this consciousness is coming from, or why would we even think this? Why would we not do what the government said? Why would we not do this and that? They cannot see it. But there are those in the light consciousness timeline who haven't dipped into the other side. They can't see where everyone else is coming from. They can't see, why are you following instructions? Why have you given up your autonomy and your sovereignty? And why are you giving up your freedoms? And why are you allowing all this to happen? Because it's literally the duality on the planet, and that's on purpose. The duality is on purpose. So when we actually really understand that, we need to have that resilience where we can go, we get that where there's the two sides. We get that there's that duality, that train line, that they're both happening, but we can actually choose to be in our light side, and it's harder to stay that way whilst we understand what is actually happening on the shadow side. But we just tap in and we check back out. We tap in and we check back out. So we've got to stay and maintain our truth. And it's hard. It's hard when people are at you the whole time going, you're an idiot. You know what you're talking about. And you're like, what's this all about? Why wouldn't you? Are you going to, kill your grandma? Are you going? But when you have a look and you stand back and you go, anyone who would put your parents or your grandparents into a nursing home, shut them off and go, you're not allowed visitors because it may affect their health. Is that coming from love, or is that coming from fear? Is that coming from light consciousness, or is that coming from the absolute hellhole of the planet? So, it's about lifting up and having that view, and many people, and I have to say, it's becoming more evident, those who are less formally educated are having their thoughts in their truth. Those more formally educated are having the thoughts of what to be told, and it's fascinating to watch it play out.
Amazing. I love this analogy of the dial. I love the analogy.
That was so powerful.
So my question is around that. You're saying it's about to tip the other way. So what's actually going to happen now when it tips the other way?
Oh,
that's quite a way off, but you can actually start to see conservative values coming to the absolute opposite and the extreme. So anything, with you, when you've got the duality, remember the duality is a part of the game as well, right? So this is needing to be having a look at the producer of the film rather than the individual actors of the film, because individual actors, rom-coms, romance, battlefields, there's always two counteracting against each other. Whereas the producer of a film actually has the entire view. It's the budget, it's the casting, it's the delivery, it's the marketing. They've got the whole thing. So you can actually see now, that there's the whole woke movement that is really, being taken hold. But people are starting to get fed up with it. They're starting to get fed up with, grade, kids going into grade 4 or 5 in Australia who are asked, what gender would they like to be known as, and what pronoun would they like to use, when they're 6 and 7, and without any permission from the parents. It can go right back the other way, where it could go right into religious fanaticism again. And religion is not the one consciousness. So it is taking away that freedom again. So anyone that is going from one doctrine of belief to the opposing doctrine of belief is still not fully conscious.
Yeah, and I love the thought of the stars shine brighter in a dark sky. This yin yang, this dark and light, and the more dark there is, the more light there is, the more light there is, the more dark there is, or that's more evident that we're more conscious of this light and dark, because there's always been light and dark energies from the beginning of time, right? And it's now that more and more are being exposed, more of this darkness is being exposed. And my first introduction actually was the Zeitgeist movie which came out in 2007, the Zeitgeist documentary. I remember watching that years ago, and it opened my mind to some things, but not a lot of it went way over my head, because it was just so different to my version of reality that I just didn't understand a lot of it, and I kind of parked it and just went on with my day-to-day life. And then back in about 2014 or so, someone said, 9/11 was an inside job, don't you? I said, what do you mean? He said, and like Ken, he said, watch this documentary, watch this. And I watched some David Icke documentaries, and then ended up interviewing David Icke for a Truth Expose TV, which I started back then, which people can see online now to this day. And a lot of what David Icke was talking about back in 2015, when he did the Great Wake Up tour around Australia, a lot of it is still relevant to this day. It's just now, since COVID, now people are actually seeing through a lot of the BS that has actually been around for years, but now it's like coming more to the fore as more of that darkness is coming to the fore, and people starting to question things. They're saying, well, how is it that all these people have been jabbed are actually getting COVID? And how is that possible when that was meant to stop COVID? And then they say, but COVID would be worse if we didn't have the jab. They say stuff like that, right, to justify. And each to their own when it comes to that. Of course, if you choose to have the jab, then you go right ahead. Just don't try and force that stuff on me, right? And that's the thing, is our freedom is like people felt that they had to do it because they'd lose their jobs. They couldn't go into restaurants. There are all these limits on our freedoms if we didn't do as we were told. And our people have had enough of doing what they've been, told to do, to trust authority. We don't trust authorities anymore. And this is where more and more people now are starting to speak their truth. This is why Ken and I started the Total Truth Show, because, nothing but the truth. This is our truth. It's not necessarily your truth. Your truth could be completely different to our truth. And where does your truth come from? From what you've what you've experienced in your own life, from what you've researched. And this is where watching documentaries like the Thrive documentaries are absolutely brilliant. If you haven't seen them, they are linked in the Conscious Community Global Facebook group. Check it out. We have amazing documentaries in there that will actually leave you feeling empowered, because we are actually so incredible as human beings, as a consciousness that we are as human beings. We are so powerful, and yet we have been dumbed down, we've been shut down, living in fear, and the fear of the fear is making people sick, and that's what's having people live these small lives. And it's about time, and it's happening, that this, that world is waking up. And it's actually, I think, a very exciting time in history where we're actually here on the planet for a reason, impacting change like this.
Absolutely. Well, it's like the Stockholm syndrome, and I can see it between our clients who just sit there and go, oh my God, I'm so excited about this journey with the pillar code. And others who are going, oh, I want to do it. Oh, I don't want to do it. I want to do it. We have people going, oh, I'm fearing that it's going to make me really challenge my miserable life. And I'm going, well, yeah, it's going to bring you into your best version. Why would you fear that? And this in Stockholm syndrome, that I have to stay in this misery, and people are going, oh, I think it's going to make me choose whether or not I don't know, leave my job or stay in my job, or leave my husband or stay with my husband. I'm going, that is duality thinking. Where is your umbrella thinking that you may actually reignite your marriage again and not have the next 20 years where you're going, oh God, could I have done better, or will I stay, or will I go? Well, don't be in duality thinking. And people in duality thinking won't progress. They just won't grow. They just won't come into their best version. And what we do does challenge people, because we're going to get you from duality to thinking, what's your highest creation? We've got a private membership group called the Creators Club. Like, get in there, and absolutely, it's creation. What do you choose to create? And it's not greed. It could be relationship with your children again. It could be, back into that comfort with your body. It could be finances, and so it's all about that creation. But when people are buying into the duality, what is duality? It looks like prison bars. It looks like the goal, it looks like you're literally sitting there and stuck behind these bars. And we're going, look at the umbrella, don't look at the duality of life. And so it's frustrating. One of my biggest frustrations when I see the potential in someone to be, we say, get yourself happy, healthy, and wealthy. 3 things: happy, healthy, and wealthy. It's happy of mind, healthy of body, and wealthy of soul. It does include finances, but it's wealthy of soul. It's the soul of the love and your connection, your value of you, your wealth. And when you're in your value, yes, finances absolutely flourish. So what is it about people that they're scared to be happy of mind? They're scared to be healthy of body, and they're scared to be wealthy of soul. They just don't feel that they have the value, or they're good enough to do that, or they deserve it, or that it's their time. They have to be in that slavery energy. And we're going, no longer. No longer do you need to be in slavery energy. No longer. And if you are not happy of life, mind, or body, if you are not healthy of mind, body, and soul, and if you're not wealthy of life, mind, body journey, if you are not, then you are not in your highest consciousness, linking into that creation of collective consciousness, which is love. And it's the highest potential on the planet, which is growing and shifting. And if you're not on that growth of shifting, you're going to actually be left behind, which actually could be a choice as well. And that's a different subject. But, the ones that really can't embrace happiness, health, and wealth go, if not now, when? If not now, why not? If not now, what are you here for?
Yes, beautiful. Now, Katie's here with us. Hello, Katie, on Facebook. She says, total attack on the feminine happening right now. Now, interesting, because I could say the same total attack on the masculine happening right now too, right? We've got the two extremes. So isn't that interesting as a point of view?
Well, it's actually the feminine that's rising. It's actually the feminine that's actually coming up. and the feminine is actually just lifting. I'm actually feeling, for this journey, I'm actually feeling quite a lot of empathy for the masculine energy. So our pillar 4 out of 9 pillars, pillar 4 is the pillar of balance, and it's the masculine and feminine. And we must be in our both 100% of our feminine and 100% of our masculine, and our intuitive, our healing, our feminine energy, our females in our life. And we must be in 100% of the masculine, which is the intellect, the analytical, the structure, the finances, the security, and the males in our life. And so pillar 4 is all about that balance of having the two, but it's the feminine energy that literally is lifting and rising. But it's the men who are feeling like they don't know where they belong. They don't know where to step now. And we need men to step up and actually be allowed to be masculine men, whilst they still be able to hold that feminine energy and be able to have truthful conversations. And what we find, because we do research on all of our work, and it's just fascinating to see over the years the shifts of what people come in with, because people will generally come in with around 28 things on their fix-it list when they start with us, life, mind, and body. Men will come in with a bit less because they don't know how to express it. And and our research shows 86% of people who are really wanting to step up are women. We would like our clients to be 50-50 in women and men. But in 2023, we've had a surge of men coming through. It's always the women that introduce them to us. But generally it's only 14% of men that actually come through and go, I'm open to be helped. I'm open to be lifted. I'm open to find my true potential. It's fascinating to see it. But it's both masculine and feminine. That the balance of that, not the duality, not fighting one against the other, but the umbrella of the unity of the two, that literally is going to bring us back into that higher consciousness.
I really feel like this. Yeah, I really thank you. I really feel like this is like, there's a lot of this that I totally understand, and then I feel like there's some of this that's just so darn deep that it's kind of like going like, I'm kind of like, what the heck, but I'm loving this. There's a lot of really great points you've made tonight for me, this afternoon for you. There's a lot of really good points that you've made that I'll be taking with me, because there's some things that I just never really thought about, like that in between stage, and then learning to rise up to the umbrella. Like my friend always said, look at the 40,000 foot view. Don't get stuck in the weeds. It's one thing to go down here and look at this in particular for a little bit. Don't get stuck there. Look at the 40,000 foot view. And I think that's so powerful.
We say to our clients, one of the visuals, because it's all about visual. Everything's a movie, so I describe things in visuals. And so we say to our clients, it's like you're in a hot air balloon and you've got to get out of the mud, right? It's muddy. It's really heavy energy down here, and you want to go up, and the higher you go, the higher you get in your clarity. But you're sitting in the basket of the hot air balloon, and you look over the sides, and there are all these sandbags in Hessian. You don't know what is in the Hessian. You don't know. There's some big sandbags and some smaller sandbags, but you just know that you've got to be releasing sandbags to lift. And when you're comfortable, you release one of the sandbags. And those sandbags are like the ailments or the issues or the challenges in life, mind, body, and we say in business as well. So you release one of these sandbags, and you might just start to lift a bit, and then you release another sandbag, and then you start to lift a bit. But you don't know what's in the sandbag, so you don't know what issue will move first as you go through the Pillar Code 12-step journey. You don't know which one is going to move first, and that's the exciting part. It's the fun part, and it's the unpredictable part. But the more you release these sandbags that don't serve you any longer, they're issues of the past that are creating trauma in your present, and they're stopping your future. So the more that you release, the more then we start to lift. And the more you start to lift, the easier it is for you to actually start flying, and you start seeing a little bit more of the field, and then you start seeing of the area and the location. And then you can be more and more comfortable to remove the sandbags one by one by one, until you literally have the bird's eye view of your entire life, of your entire journey. And you realize you don't need whatever's in those sandbags holding you back any longer. They literally are holding you into the mud where you can't see. You cannot see the vision above you, but it's above you. It's always been there. You just have never been able to see it.
Yes, the
I've never
filters.
thought of that kind of vision. The hot air balloon and the sandbags. That's so powerful. That's just another gem that I'm going to be taking away here today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, fantastic. And Katie's got a great comment here. Yes, we are rising. However, I feel that the patriarchal energy is still attempting to overpower our feminine. So how do we not confuse the difference between masculine and patriarchal? Good question, Katie. What do you think of that, PJ?
So when we're looking at a love vibration versus fear vibration, so when you're having a look at the patriarchal, it comes with a vibration of fear. Do as I say, not as I do. You walk into an office. I used to work in government defence and logistics. Oh my God, Katie, I was surrounded by the patriarchal dickheads, basically, and then they'd go off and go to strip clubs and cheat on their wives. And okay, what the hell is this about? Now, that is not masculine to me. That is not masculine. That's not what I call masculine. A true masculine energy is someone who will be resilient and will literally be the structure and framework of protection. That is the male. That is the male intellect. That's the intelligence. And a beautiful true male will be diversified in that energy as well, of respect and of love and of safety and of nurturing. So absolutely, the patriarchal side of it is literally it's the fear, do as I say side. But you can have women who are like that. A lot of women in politics who are like that. A lot of people, a lot of women around the place that have that ballsy energy, and they don't allow freedom of speech. They don't allow people to actually step into the creativity of themselves. That the best successful women are those who help nurture and lift and promote other amazing women who have that balance. So so the pillar 4 of the life, of the journey of life, is literally looking at the love side of the feminine, the love side of the masculine, and that in itself is the balance of the purity. And all of that egotistical, negative greed, because it's a greed energy. I want to be promoted. I don't want to promote you. I want to be in charge. I don't want you to be in charge. That's a greed energy. That it literally is being annihilated around the planet. It cannot.
Yes. And that greed energy. The greed energy is scarcity mentality, poverty mentality, and the gratitude energy is expansion, it's abundance, and more we're coming into that. And something I started through COVID was the Global Good News Challenge. And this is an absolutely free challenge every month where you can share gratitude and good news and lift the energy on the planet. And we've had people all over the world do this now. I know I've spoken to a few people who are going to be doing it for April. By the end of April, there's a 4-day challenge. All the details are in the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page, which I have popped a link in here. Just go to the top of the Facebook page and check out how to participate. We share your challenges out to thousands of people. It is amazing how powerful it is when you share gratitude on a video as opposed to thinking gratitude or writing gratitude, which is also powerful. But when you actually speak it out, it's like it goes to a whole other level. And then when people see that, it also lifts their energy, and this beautiful ripple effect can happen. And I think this is part of this great awakening as well that is happening more and more as more people shifting from greed to gratitude, that we are starting to see a collective shift happen on the planet, which is just so amazing and so beautiful. What are some of the things, PJ?
If I can just say, I'd like to put a call out to all pillar practitioners, and I'll give you the challenge to get on to the Global Good News Challenge and actually start putting your gratitude up there, because that would be a really fun challenge for us as a group to do.
Yeah, fantastic. I'd love you to do that. That'd be awesome. And great free promotion. It wasn't designed as a marketing idea. However, a lot of people, for their good news, they're sharing about things that are happening in the business or some clients they're helping, or, so it's actually a great win-win-win scenario. Doesn't cost you a thing. It takes about up to 1 to 3 minutes. People do the challenge, just sharing your name, what you do, 3 things you're grateful for, and a piece of good news every day. So April being the 4th month, we have a 4-day challenge. You can start up till the end of April. It needs to be 4 days in a row, though. If you miss a day, you go back to day 1. And May, we've got a 5-day challenge for May being the 5th month, etc. So you can see it all in there. Just make sure you hashtag Global Good News Challenge or tag me so that I'll see it, and then we'll share it out to thousands of people as well on our socials. And this is the thing, is these, the ripple effect of these little things that we can all take action on to help shift the collective consciousness, right? And we're all doing, as you say, we all have our roles to play. We all do it in different ways. Ken's really passionate about the truth about health, right? And how you can have the healthiest life without diets and all that kind of thing, bringing truth to that industry, and I'm very passionate about the truth in the media, and actually freedom of expression and shifting from this greed to gratitude. I love that analogy, greed to gratitude. When you look at Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness, it actually shows scientifically, greed is one of the lowest vibrations. You're actually vibrating at 30 hertz, according to Dr. Hawkins, on the scale of consciousness when we're in greed. Whereas we're in gratitude, we're actually right up, actually above love. Love is at 528 hertz. We're actually at 540 hertz when we're in joy and gratitude. And then above that is peace at 600 hertz. And then enlightenment is 700 hertz plus. And that diagram is in the Conscious Community Global Facebook group, which I've got here. You can check it out on Facebook as well. A whole lot of amazing resources for you in there for free. Great resource that you once you take the red pill, once you open your eyes to one of these things, you never look at life the same again. And I must say, I am loving the fact there are so many freedom movements happening across the world right now. There's so many people shifting this consciousness, and the big trick is just notice where your energy goes, because there's going to be times where you watch some of these documentaries like Out of Shadows, which talks about the control through the media and the conditioning we've had since primary school, and being told what to do as we're told and all that kind of stuff. This patriarchal energy, right, from childhood. So Out of Shadows, very, very powerful, done by 2 Hollywood stunt guys, about the control of the media, etc., and having people live in drama, conditioned to live in drama, right? Which is why this whole idea of our bad news sells, and if it bleeds, it leads. We've been conditioned to live that way. But a lot of people I speak to now, they go, I don't watch the news because it's all so negative. Well, be the change you wish to see in the world, right? And make some positive change towards whatever it is you're passionate about. Your purpose, you mentioned, PJ. Your purpose is so for those who are struggling a bit and don't really know what their purpose is, what would you say to them on how to find their purpose?
Be happy. I'll expand, but so many people, and I mean, I've spoken to hundreds and hundreds of people. I do workshops on this. Our individual clients, we teach practitioners all around the world, like to come in and then they deliver the Pillar Code program to their clients and so on. And then the one question I always get asked, but what's my purpose? And it stumps them. They go, what? To be happy. I go, yes. Because if you're not happy, you're not on your path to your purpose anyway. So the purpose is make peace with your past. Find your purpose, and I'll get back to that, and then create your prosperity. How do you find your purpose? You have been guided to do some training, some courses, some degrees, and you may have done an accounting degree and go, I just do not want to work in that. Or you may have done an engineering degree. I don't want to work in that. But there are certain things that you've actually been guided to do in a skill set. So you have a skill set of something. You also have then the duality. You also have your gifts. You may have a beautiful voice. You may be great at speaking. You may be great at helping people. You might be a healer. You might be a beautiful mother. You could be a beautiful teacher. It doesn't matter what you are, but you have a gift. You have some gifts that you are coming in with as well. When you can put both of them on a bit of paper and understand all the skills that you've actually learned, and you've learned for a reason, and then all the gifts that you may not be using. You could be a beautiful cook. It could be that you're really compassionate. You could be great at people palliative care, whatever it is that you've got some certain gifts around. You then at the top of that look at, if there's one problem in the planet that I can be responsible for solving, What is it? Just one. And you've got to narrow it right down. Okay. And as soon as you look at that and go, yes, I want to, to help people from starvation. And yes, I want to save the children from pedophiles. And yes, I want to, help people in their transitioning. But really, if it came down to it, I would really like to get in and change government policy on Like, you've got to really, really actually have a look at it. You actually put it into a triangle and go, I'm going to align the skill sets, which is the masculine side. That's the analytical side. I'm going to align my gifts, whatever my gifts are. And that's the feminine. That's the intuitive side. And then I'm going to align this to a problem on the planet that affects me. Generally, the problem on the planet will be something that you've experienced. It'll be something that you've done, you've had happen to you. You've been a victim of, or you've had that experience of, one way or another. And when you put them into this beautiful triangle, it'll literally be like the ice driver, going through this solid wall of ice, showing you where your path is. And it's incredibly exciting to see where that can be, and where you can go into either an employment job, into your own business, being a beautiful mother, whatever it might be. And then you look at it and you go, is this my journey? Is it my journey? If it's your journey, you'll find joy in it, total joy. It won't be a martyring. I've got to do this because I'm good at it, but I hate it. It's got to be overall, the umbrella is, are you going to enjoy it? Joy, journey of yours. When you can put that caveat over the top, you're getting there. You're starting to get there. Am I going to be happy doing this? Of mind. Am I going to be healthy? Is this a healthy thing for me to do? Body. And wealthy. Am I going to be prosperous with this? And it means money. People come to me and say, I want to be a pillar practitioner, but I don't want to earn much money, and I don't want to do this. I go, well, you're not right for it, because we need to be as prosperous as we can for what we're heading into in the planet. We need to be financially abundant. Yeah. We need to be self-reliant, self-resilient, sovereign citizens, sovereign in our finances, not reliant on anyone or anything. And that means a fair exchange, just a fair exchange of where we are. So when you have a look at your skills, the masculine, the gifts, your feminine, the problem you're solving in the world, linking to an absolute joy, the journey of yours, and then you can have a look at the problem you're solving in your community is something that has an impact from you. It'll get you out of bed of a morning. You're passionate about it. You'll keep going when you think you will just want to stop. You'll be consistent at it. You have a joy with it. You're happy, healthy, and wealthy. Like it literally, it will come to you overnight. It will just click. And then you'll come to a stage where you go, yes, but how? I always knew I wanted to be a conductor. I always knew I wanted to be a school teacher. I always knew I wanted to be a life coach. Yes, but how? I don't have the money or the time or the where. As soon as you go into the how, you've taken over the role of the universe or your soul direction. That your soul is the CEO of your life. The manager is the literally the one who was actually doing the direction, and the body is the team moving you forward. So once you really collect and connect and get your soul message, because it's going to be really, really simple. It's going to be something like, really, that's my purpose. You then give it to the mind, and then you start actioning it, and you then watch the how happen to really align you into your journey. And when you click and you really click on it, it's like, wow, that's me. That was so simple. If that's my understanding of it, I'm just going to keep going. And most people will be completely thrown by how simple it is to find their purpose.
You know, what's interesting about that is I resonate with it so much because I remember some of those points I was in the beginning of my journey. So also what happened summer of 2020 is not only was my own awakening, but I mean, taking the red pill and all that other stuff, I also launched my business during that time and launched my own brand and company. And I remember, so the first part of that is like, I remember the times where I would sit there with my mentor, what in the world, I remember I'll never forget this. One of the things he told me to do, he's like, this is what I want you to do. I want you to set a date and I want you to announce it out there do a Facebook Live, whatever you have to do. I want you to announce it out there. And so, and then he's like, I want you to build your masterclass. I want you to build your online course by that date. And I want you to announce that date out there. I actually did that. I announced the date out there. It was 2 weeks out, 2 to 2.5 weeks out. And I swear that freaking light that lit a fire underneath my ass. And I'm using that word because that's, yeah. I went through moments and periods of so much stress during that small amount of time, but I got it all done. I got my masterclass done. I got my online course done. Through all of that, here's where I found my passion in what I do with people. So not only does it come from my own transformational experience, as you said, but through that and discovering the truth around geopolitical, a lot of things, I also discovered my passion for literally exposing the lies that are out there in the health and wellness industry. This goes all the way down to the lies the American Heart Association sells people. This goes down to the lies we've always been told about saturated fats. This goes down to lies that are all over the place that people are still believing. And it is literally, you can tell when I'm talking about it. It's my passion. It's
passion. You can see the passion. Yeah.
It's who I am. That's what I found. That's one of the reasons why also my brand has the patriotic theme for it. And I really feel like it's the one way, because I'm not really all into like explaining politics to people and all that other stuff. Like, I'm awake, you know, and if people have questions, I know I've got documentaries I can send them and stuff like that. Not too good about that. It was the one thing that I found, and I wrapped my hands around, my heart around, to where I'm just like, this is my place during this time and period of time. This is my place, and this is how I can have my voice out there.
Yeah. So you would have had skill sets, you would have had your gifts, you would have seen a problem in the planet, you know, the lies about the diet and exercise industry and so on. And you would have seen an issue around the community. It's directed you in personally. It's impacted, you know, on you. You've put joy over the top of it. Will I enjoy delivering this journey of yours? So it's become the journey of yours. It was the journey of yours. And then you can move that forward. And then you look at, does this make me happy? Does this make me healthy? And does this make me wealthy? And then start to progress it from there. And that literally is a formula for purpose. And it's magical when you get it.
Yeah.
I love that. Love that. And it's interesting that I'm all about inspiring truth and good news. And my journey has been that I've had depression, and I've had 4 friends take their own lives by the age of 45. Like, there's no coincidences. And, you know, here we've had 4 times the suicide rates through COVID. And so now I've taken my good news challenge, and I had a good news day. I started on the 8th of the 8th, 18, which was after my 4th friend suicided. However, after COVID, then now it's monthly. Now it's like, now we're getting out there on a whole other scale, and we're continuing. It's not just one day a year, it's every month sharing gratitude and good news. And I see how that all ties in with my personal journey as well. So fascinating.
Your skill sets for analytical, your journalism, your absolute gifts, the communication and connecting into people, the problem, and that the problem has impacted you, but it's on the community. You overlay that with joy. Is it going to give me joy to do that journey of yours? So it has been your journey. And then you look at, will it make me happy to do this, healthy to do this, and wealthy to do this, and start to step forward from that. And then don't give up. Then keep going. And that's the thing. We have a bad day, or we have a bad hair day, or we're really tired, or someone says no, and it can be really, really heart-wrenching. Yes. No, once you've clicked and you've got that, you just damn well keep going.
That resilience.
That's exactly the path that, you know, I know I'm on. I know that Aldwyn's on. That's exactly it. You know, have there been times in my business to where it's been discouraging? Things aren't happening fast enough. I'm not getting clients fast enough, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's been, what's the right word? A very tedious learning process during it. What keeps me going is the fact that I know my message needs to get out. I know my message helps people. And
Mhm.
you know, one of the very evident things to me was one of my past clients that I had. She bought into my full program and went through the full 90 days with me. And her and herself and her testimony, she said that for the first time in her life, she has seen consistent weight loss. And, you know, she learned a lot of tools that I gave her along the way. And the cool thing about what I do is so I don't just tell people, you know, hey, seed oils are bad for you. This is why, and this is what it does. I don't just tell them when they are my of these things, of the sites that they can go to actually see the truth, so that they don't have to go to the search engines and try to fish through all the mainstream jargon before they finally get to the truth. I've actually compiled it all together for them. And I was able to give that to her, and to watch her make all of these discoveries as she's looking at the links that I sent her and make these discoveries for herself, and then have her send me messages, you know, hey, I was talking to my husband the other day and explaining why seed oils are bad. And his reply was this, well, you know, he had some, it was a brilliant remark. And it was a remark that I don't remember the exact words, but it was a type of remark that he gave her that pretty much said, wow, they're trying to kill us. Something like that. You know, it's when I see these things in action, and I see, you know, my program and what I'm teaching people and the tools that I'm giving people, when I see it in action, that gives me more joy than I can ever ask for or imagine.
But they won't be buying your program. They'll be buying your passion. They don't know your program. They don't know what's in it. People buy your passion. And if you're not genuinely passionate about something in your life, then you're going to be a salesperson rather than really just allowing people to buy in, right? And they're buying your passion.
Yeah, and they're buying you, Ken, because they love you, right? People work with people they know, like, and trust, and this is where being consistent is so important with whatever path you're on. And of course, there's going to be tough times. There's a great saying that great challenges are not given to small souls. Great challenges are not given to small souls. And actually embracing all of it, right? Embracing all the ups and downs. You know, when I got washed out to sea in February, it was only about 2 months ago, a kilometre out to sea in Coffs Harbour, it was like, as I faced my potential mortality, it was like the reset button was pressed for me. And ever since that, I've been reevaluating my life and, you know, looking at how I can fine tune even more, where I can most be in flow, where I can most let go. One of the big learnings was let go and flow with the ocean. If I didn't let go and flow with the ocean as I was being taken out with a sweep, then I would have definitely died, because I would have been fighting against the tide. And there was so many gold nuggets in that experience. And I've actually shared a chapter in one of the books I've got coming out soon. I've shared a whole chapter about this experience. I did a 20-minute video on Facebook, which you can check out, about the learnings from this near-death experience. And interestingly, there are some massive planetary shifts happening that we haven't seen in hundreds of years taking place right now in 2023. I've just shared a link to just one article online about it in wellandgood.com. You can check that out here. Some massive planetary shifts. And in fact, I was at a networking event today with BX Networking at Service Paradise. And two people I spoke to who I was networking with said that, you know, they've been taking time to reevaluate their life, and they've been looking at, you know, they kind of feel like they've been in cruise mode for years, and now it's time to go next level. And, you know, and I feel exactly the same. I kind of feel like I've been in cruise mode for 20 years in my business, and now it's time to go next level. And I've just employed 2 full-time VAs, and I've now got a one-on-one business coach, as well as the other mentors as well. This is new. Ken doesn't know this information. It just happened in the last 24 hours. And I'm so excited now to build the team, because for far too long I've been strangleholding my business, and by having fear of letting go and fear of trusting others, and wanting things to be perfect, wanting to have the systems perfect before I outsource, before I build the team. And sometimes you just got to just take that imperfect action and work on building the team, because I know that if I don't, I'm just going to burn out. And this is the thing is, you know, there's so much power with 1 + 1 is 11. 7, right? When you have the right team, of course. And this is where some people have trust issues, because we've been burnt so much and so many scammers, etc., out there. And so learning to let go and to trust and build the right team of people around you, your environment, is so crucial. So I could keep on chatting. We've been chatting for nearly 2 hours. I can't believe it. I think it'd be good to start wrapping up soon.
I told you, PJ. I told you, like, be prepared, because, like, when we get going on conversation, time goes by. I like that.
Time flies when you're having fun. And a lot of what you're saying, PJ, actually, just quickly, I'll refer to Bob Proctor, a video that's actually on YouTube, Back to the Purpose conversation. And Bob Proctor was asked, one of the legendary personal development guys who just died a few months ago at 87. He worked right up until his last day because he was so passionate about what he was doing. He was totally in his flow. And people said, how do you find your purpose? And his answer was, do what you love. Every single day, do as much as you can of what you love. Exactly what you're saying, right? Do what makes you happy. What makes you happy? Just notice, what is it that makes you happy? And the more we do things just for the money, that's when you're not going to stick with it, as you say. Whereas if you've got that joy, the money will come. I say, love what you do, the money will come, is what I've always said, right? Love what you do, the money will come. However, it's important to send invoices out occasionally and follow up and that kind of thing as well, right? Or have someone team that does that. So there's just
allow the reward, but don't allow money to be the first thing, right? It can't be, because it just won't work. It just won't.
Yes.
It won't come. But allow it to come in to be the reward.
Yes, absolutely. Now, in wrapping up, PJ, can you tell us just a little bit more about the Pillar Code, what it is, how people can work with you, and how we can connect with you as well?
Yeah, sure. So the Pillar Code is a beautiful 12-step program that has been delivered and received universally. It's really quite unique. It's incredible. It literally takes people on a journey through the universal pillars. It's their stepping stones up in life. And it is looking at what in the past has held you back. We get in very succinctly and look at that. How is it impacting you and pivoting your life in a way that you're not wanting to right now? And then what is it that you're looking forward to, your actioning, your creation, your manifesting, your goal setting for where you're going in the future. And we do that on every pillar that you go in. So we ask you, first of all, for your fix-it list. What is broken? What's not working in your life? What's not working in your mind? What's not working in your body? Disease, disorders, dysfunction. What's not working in your career or your business? And we get a list. We guide you through it. On average, our research shows us that people put 28 things on this list. And we then start taking you through a pillar a week. We come back through halfway through that journey and we look at that original list. And then we go, right, you said you're so anxious you can't get out of the car to get into the building at work. How is that going? That's 50% cleared, or that doesn't even worry him anymore. And we go through everything and we get it back from the client, how they're going. And then we take them on the rest of the journey. It's like a spiral staircase, lifting and lifting. And it's like these bags, or these sandbags are just dropping. And we don't know what symptom or ailment or issue will go first. We don't know what will go last. That's the excitement of it. And then you get to the end of it, and then we'll bring out that exact list that you started with 12 weeks before, and then we'll read it to you. And it will generally be annihilated. It will generally be completely different. You will be at a different frequency, at a different level. Those things will either not worry you anymore or not be in your life. And then there are going to be some things that are going to be stubborn that are still there, that we then know it's come from this massive list down to this smaller list. And then you can, if you choose, then you can go onto the expansion or maintenance program. But it just puts you in a completely different framework for you to really experience the better version of you, the best version of you. Find your truth, find your purpose. We're incredibly proud of it. And people can find us, go to our website at thepillarcode.com. You'll find us there. We also have a beautiful private membership group, the Creators Club, where we do manifesting and creation and build a community and go out to retreats, and we do lots of awesome good stuff there. And we're all about really, people making peace with the past, finding their purpose and creating their prosperity. And that is what everybody deserves to access.
Thank you so much. That is awesome. thepillowcode.com/the-creators-club. And if you hop in there and put TCC or TC Club, PJ, in there, you get complimentary membership there for 30 days with that promo code. So we've got that link in the chat there. Thank you so much for your generosity with that, PJ. That's amazing. And Ken, how can people connect with you?
Well, you've got my link tree on there, and with my link tree, there's 2 links that you will definitely want to find on my link tree. And I'm pulling it up right now. The first one is my Facebook group. It's a growing community. Oh, that's nice. It won't even let me log in. Oh, yes, it will. Okay, there. It's my growing Facebook community, and it's basically for those who want to not just lose the weight, but are looking to literally make lasting changes in their life, because I'm not interested in leading people on a journey just to lose the weight. I'm interested in leading people on a journey to make those lasting changes for the rest of their life. So there's that. You'll find that link 3 links down on my Linktree list. You'll find on the top of the list is my calendar link to book an appointment with me. Just if you want to just get to know me, maybe have like a little coffee virtual chat. Sure, absolutely. Then the second link on my list also is my website. You can go on there. You can check me out. All of my my different packages for my programs on there. There's also a masterclass on there. You can find my podcast on my website. All of that is there. So you can find all that on my link tree in just the first 3 links up there.
Fantastic. And that link tree link is linktr.ee/fat Fighter Ken. You'll find that. And for those who want to connect with me, you'll find all of my links at linktree/Aldwyn. That's linktr.ee/Aldwyn. linktr.ee/Aldwyn. We've got our Skyrocket Your Success Masterclass tomorrow in Brisbane. For those who are in the area, that's going to be amazing. We're doing vision boards, cleansing exercises, meditations, and helping get you out there tomorrow in Brisbane. And also we have the Global Good News Challenge. You check out the details there on the top of the Facebook page. It says exactly step by step how to do a Global Good News Challenge as a live video. You can do it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever your preferred social media channel is. Sharing gratitude. This is a great way to practice getting into gratitude and turning that greed or grief or shame or any of that stuff that you might have lingering in the background, to turn that into gratitude and to help share more positive news with the world. Love to stay connected. Thank you so much for those who've joined us too. Please like our Total Truth Show as well on Facebook, and you'll see some of our previous episodes. We've done some absolutely awesome interviews. I love the dynamic of this show. It's one of the most exciting things that I've done in my life. I think the Total Truth Show, this amazing collaboration with Ken, who we actually met on a networking event online. We've never met in person, and it's just such a great collaboration. So I'm very grateful for you, Ken, and for this show. And PJ, you're extraordinary. We have a comment here from Katie. She says, most grateful for this conversation. We'll look further into the pillar code. Fantastic, Katie. Thank you for joining us. And for all those who have joined us on the live, please let us know in the comments, what have you got from this discussion today? What's some of the key gems, takeaways that you have got from today? Please let us know in the comments. And if you like what you've seen today, then please share the love as well. We would love that. Please share the love. Stay connected on the socials. And we'll wrap up today with our epic, nearly 2-hour show. We'll wrap up with our favorite quote or motto that we live by. So, PJ, what's your favorite quote or motto that you live by?
Oh, mine's really simple. The best thing you can do for the poor is not be one yourself. Oh. And that's just not poor financially. It is poor of consciousness, poor of awareness, poor of truth, mind, body, soul, happiness, health, wealth. The best thing you can do for the poor is not be one yourself.
Yes. I love that. I'm giving my yes. And one more. Well, yes. Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. And what about you, Ken? What's your favorite quote or saying?
Oh, my goodness. All right. I'm going to give both of them today just because. So the first one is the one I always use, which is treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. That's from Donald J. Trump. And then my second one, which is not really a quote, but it's written here on my piece of paper on the wall, and it's, you cannot hope for your motivation for the day. You must be intentional about it. Start your day with intention.
Oh, I love it. Yes. Give me a Y. Hey, give me yes. Yes. Yes, there we go. Yeah, fantastic. Love it, love it. Now, one of mine, of course, my favorites of all time is Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And I'll share the Margaret Mead one as well today. Another one of my favorites. A small group of thoughtful people can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. Is to you living your most extraordinary life. It's been an absolute pleasure, PJ, having you on our show today. What a delight you are. I love the work you're doing with the Pillar Code. I can't wait to experience it myself. So I'm looking forward to that moving forward. Any final words before we wrap up today?
Look, just don't buy into the fear, stay into the love and the truth. Allow the truth, literally the saying, allow the truth to set you free. It will. Be supported. Know we're on an incredible journey, but there really is an incredible, amazing future ahead of us with this beautiful love consciousness. But it takes action of connecting a healthy mind, a healthy body, a connected soul. Keep yourself in that journey and really just enjoy the ride and make sure you're a part of the solution, not the problem.
Yeah, I love that. And Ken, any final words?
My final thought today is, I'm going to try to be real gentle on how I say this. If you are still watching the mainstream media and believing in all this stuff that they're saying, even mainstream articles and different things like that, I'm going to challenge all of you. I am going to challenge all of you. Look at some alternate sources. Open your mind to the possibilities of what you're being fed could be wrong. Open your mind to that. Look at places like Rumble, RUMBLE.com. Very simple. Do some searches there. It won't take long for you to find some alternate views that make you ask some questions, which is what you should be doing right now. Gone are the days where we just accept what we're being told on the media, on the news, on just mainstream articles. Gone are those days. That is actually one of the reasons why we are in this position, is because we got complacent. That is our fault. Now it's time to fix it. Time to ask the questions. Rumble.com, you've got BitChute.com, you've got Telegram, and then they have not told me to say this or to advertise this, but I am, because I think these guys are doing a phenomenal job. I'm going to put the link in the chat here, Aldwyn, if you can feature that.
Sure.
These guys, they're called Badland Media. These guys are speaking the truth, you guys. They have an entire media program out thing that they are building up. It's got a different show for every person. You've got shows on sports without a woke agenda. You've got sports on, you've got shows on what's going on in the world. You've got shows that have all kinds of different angles. I don't know. I think they've got like 20 different types of shows with different angles. These guys are the real deal. Go check these guys out. You can also find them on Telegram. This is their website right here on the screen, www.badlandsmedia.tv. Go check out their website. Go to the menu and look at all the stuff that they have. These guys are excellent. I love them and I love what they do. They are the ones that are speaking the truth. Even the sponsors, when they've got the advertisings that they do, even their sponsors, a lot of their sponsors are real American first people, if you know what I mean by that. So
fantastic. Love it. And, shout out to all the truth media out there. Aussie Cossack's amazing as well. You might want to check some of his stuff out. Rebel Media. There's so many amazing truth outlets out there now. So I thank all those truth seekers and truth speakers out there like ourselves who are helping to lift the consciousness on the planet, who are helping with this great awakening we've been talking about today, and love for you to also share yourself. Once you actually have some new knowledge that you think could benefit someone, I encourage you to actually share that, whether it's a documentary you see that blows your mind. Just share the love and let people make up their own choice for themselves. And my final thoughts today, I have a magic wand here. I'm waving the magic wand, and I'd like you to know that you do not need anyone else's permission to step up and put yourself out there and to speak your own truth, right? The wand is in your hand. I know it looks like it's in my hand right now. However, in the collective consciousness, it's actually in your hand. There you go. There's a shift. It's in your hands, and the world is your oyster. Anything is possible for you. There's a reason you're here on the planet, and I'm sending you all lots of love wherever you are right now. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Total Truth Show. We will wrap up now. Here's to more love in the world, less fear, to more gratitude and less greed as well. Thank you so much, PJ. Thank you, Ken. Amazing. And check out our other episodes. We'll connect with you again very soon. What are you grateful for today? Let us know in the comments. What are you grateful for today? Lots of love. Bye for now. Bye.